Have you ever wondered why so many sincere Christians spend years trying to become more loving, more patient, more joyful, and still feel like they're falling short? Maybe you've prayed harder, tried to be more disciplined, made promises to God you couldn't keep, and eventually started wondering whether something was wrong with your faith. But what if the problem isn't your effort? What if it's your understanding? Most believers read Galatians chapter 5 as a list of qualities they need to develop. But that's not how Paul presents them. He doesn't call them works. He calls them fruit. And that single word may completely change the way you think about spiritual growth. In this video, we're going to uncover why the fruit of the Spirit was never meant to be a religious checklist, why Jesus said the answer is found in abiding rather than striving, and how understanding the difference between religion and relationship can transform not just what you do, but who you're becoming. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the goal of the Christian life isn't producing fruit through effort, but becoming the kind of branch that naturally bears it. Fruit is not manufactured. Paul did not call these virtues works, he called them fruit. That single word changes everything. Anyone who has ever tended a garden understands the difference. A tree doesn't strain to produce fruit. It doesn't force apples onto its branches through sheer effort. Fruit grows naturally when the tree is healthy, deeply rooted, and continually nourished. The fruit is evidence, not the cause of life. The same principle applies to the Christian life. Love, joy, peace, and every other fruit are not rewards for trying harder. They are the natural result of remaining connected to the true source of life. The question is no longer, how can I become more patient? Instead, it becomes, am I remaining connected to Christ? The crisis behind the famous list. Many people read Galatians chapter 5 as if Paul were offering motivational advice. In reality, he was responding to a serious crisis. False teachers had convinced the churches in Galatia that faith in Jesus wasn't enough. They insisted believers also needed strict obedience to religious laws in order to earn God's approval. The result? Competition, judgment, division. Paul warned them, if you bite and devour one another, watch out, or you will be destroyed by one another. That's in Galatians chapter 5, verse 15. Performance-based religion rarely produces loving people. Instead, it often produces anxious people. People constantly trying to prove themselves become defensive, jealous, competitive, and fearful of failure. Paul's description of the works of the flesh reflects exactly that reality: hatred, discord, selfish ambition, envy, rage, and division. The fruit of the Spirit isn't a better version of religious striving, it's freedom from it. The secret is remaining. Jesus explained this perfectly the night before his crucifixion. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in them will bear much fruit. Apart from me you can do nothing. That's from John chapter 15 verse 5. Notice what Jesus didn't say. He didn't tell his followers to manufacture fruit. He told them to remain. A branch doesn't create life. It receives life. The sap flows from the vine into the branch, and eventually fruit appears naturally. The Christian life works exactly the same way. The more deeply we abide in Christ, the more his character becomes visible in us. Love means choosing before feeling. Paul places love first for a reason. The Greek word he uses is agape, a love that chooses before it feels. Unlike emotional affection, agape doesn't wait until someone deserves kindness. It acts first. God demonstrated this love by moving toward humanity while we were still broken. Living out agape means seeing people not for what they offer us, but for who they are. Sometimes love begins as a decision long before it becomes a feeling. Joy is stronger than circumstances. Paul wrote one of the Bible's happiest letters, Philippians, from a Roman prison. His joy wasn't based on comfort, it wasn't based on freedom, it wasn't based on success. Biblical joy is deeper than happiness. Happiness depends on circumstances. Joy depends on Christ. It rests in the confidence that God's promises remain true even when life feels uncertain. Joy grows every time gratitude becomes a daily practice instead of just an occasional emotion. Peace is calm in the middle of the storm. When a violent storm struck the Sea of Galilee, Jesus slept peacefully while experienced fishermen panicked. The storm was real, the danger was real, but his peace came from somewhere deeper than his circumstances. Paul later described God's peace as something that surpasses understanding. It doesn't require every problem to disappear. It guards the heart, even while problems remain. Peace grows whenever we release our burdens to God instead of carrying them alone. Patience, growing in the waiting. The Bible never presents patience as passive resignation. Abraham waited decades for God's promise. Job endured suffering without immediate answers. The early church waited faithfully for Christ's return. Biblical patience means enduring difficult seasons without allowing delay to become bitterness. Often God's greatest work happens while we're waiting, not after the wait is over. Kindness and goodness, gentle hearts, strong convictions. Although these are often paired together, kindness and goodness are not identical. Kindness reaches outward with compassion. It notices the overlooked. It welcomes the rejected. It speaks gently. Goodness, however, has moral courage. Goodness tells the truth even when truth is uncomfortable. Jesus displayed kindness towards sinners, but he also displayed goodness when he cleansed the temple of corruption. Healthy Christianity really requires both. Compassion without truth becomes compromise, but truth without compassion becomes cruelty. Faithfulness, is really the quiet strength. It rarely makes headlines, it isn't flashy, and it doesn't seek applause. Instead, faithfulness just shows up consistently. It keeps promises, it honors commitments, and it remains dependable even when no one is watching. Faithfulness is built one ordinary day at a time. Those small acts of integrity over time eventually shape an extraordinary life. Gentleness, honestly, is perhaps the most misunderstood fruit. It's not weakness at all. The ancient Greek word actually described a powerful horse that had been trained. Its strength remained. Its power remained. Only its direction changed. Gentleness is really controlled strength. It knows when to speak, and it knows when to remain silent. It chooses responses carefully instead of just reacting impulsively. Self-control is, freedom through discipline. Modern culture often celebrates impulse, but the Bible celebrates mastery. Self-control isn't about suppressing every desire. It's about allowing God's Spirit to reshape those desires. Like an athlete who trains before competition, wise believers establish healthy boundaries before temptation even arrives. Self-control actually protects every other fruit. Without it, love can become possessiveness, joy can become indulgence, and kindness can turn into people-pleasing. Discipline, in the end, creates space for genuine freedom. Paul concludes his famous list with a really remarkable statement. Against such things there is no law, no rule can manufacture love, no command can create joy, no regulation can produce gentleness. These qualities only grow where God's Spirit is alive, and that is why the real question isn't, which fruit should I work harder on? The better question is, what is keeping me from remaining connected to Christ? Is it anxiety, bitterness, the need to prove yourself, fear of failure, unforgiveness? These are the things that honestly disconnect us from the vine. The fruit of the Spirit is not about becoming a better performer, it's about becoming a better receiver. When we stop striving to earn God's approval and instead learn to abide in His presence, transformation just begins naturally. The branch does not struggle to produce fruit, it simply remains connected, and in time, what it receives becomes visible for everyone to see. That is the beauty of the Christian life. The goal is not perfect performance. The goal is faithful abiding. The fruit will follow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and share with who might need these informations. And also, I really want to celebrate my first 100 subscribers, so please help me achieve this by hitting the subscriber button.